think if kindly you come back to the main room, we can start again with the meeting. Please, I know that I'm kindly asking you to come back. Thank you, so we can restart and try to respect as much as possible the scheduling. Thank you. So, I think we have seen I think we have heard today about supercomputing. I'm trying. So thank you for coming back. Dopo ti invito. Thank you for coming back. È una battaglia. I know there are many things to discuss. We have heard many things today, and I think we will have the opportunity also later during the lunch to go further with the discussion. So if now is possible, we would like to start again just to keep as much as possible the scheduling of the meeting. And magari chiedo anche alla regia se può fare un ulteriore annuncio nella sala dall'altra parte. Ah, ok. Sì. Stiamo cercando in tutti i modi di ricondurre la gente a ripartire. Ovviamente è comprensibile, però per cortesia faccio un ultimo annuncio, poi dopo ricominciamo con il convegno. Se le persone nella sala dei 100 riescono a rientrare, proviamo a ricominciare con il convegno. Okay. Please, if everybody can go back to the main room, we will start again with the meeting. So I think it's okay, we can start again. And As I was saying, we have heard today talk a lot about supercomputing, big data. Now we should shift the focus to projects, to people and business that live and work at the sea. The question we want to ask now is how this technology can change their daily reality. How AI, supercomputing, and other technologies impact in your specific case. I ask to come here for the first round, the referent of the project DIH InnovaMare, Jakov Mazetic, 3E Fishing, Igor Celic, Brigantine, Luca Di Gaspero, and Luca Rizzi from Best 4. We did a switch because Luca, after, need to leave as a train to leave for next meeting and next commitments. So I will ask you, I will organize the thing very quickly in this way. Just a very quick round where you present yourself, say the correct name and your affiliation, and then and the name of the project. And then we have a second round where we go deeper, answering how your project use technology to impact in the blue ocean life. Thank you.
So, hello everyone, my name is Jakov Mazetic and I'm a stakeholder in the project DIH InnovaMare. My team is working on developing a pipeline that is used to detect boats and with a fusion of sensors extract useful data for different organizations or institutes for further development and data analysis.
Thank you. Should have a microphone as well, okay. There should be 4 microphones, I think, but it's okay.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Igor Celic. I'm a marine biologist from the Institute of Oceanography and Geophysics in Trieste, in Italy. And I'm here representing the project 3E Fishing. And I will go with the practical details about application of artificial intelligence a bit later.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, good morning everyone. I'm Luca Di Gaspero from University of Udine. My research focuses on AI and optimization, basically in the fields of knowledge representation and reasoning. And just to contextualize my participation here, I work on decision support systems for safety critical domains, especially in vessels and in the blue economy more in general.
Thank you. I think you can keep the microphone so the region knows each of them.
So I would like to thank also Carlo for, let's say, changing a little bit the program of today. I'm Luca Rizzi and I'm here to represent the Best 4.0 project. I came from Lecce, from the Brindisi, from CETMA, that is a research center. And I'm now representing what we are doing within our project that is mainly oriented to small and medium enterprise and to a cooperation with international partnership within the Digital Innovation Hub and for technology transfer to small and medium enterprises.
So thank you for your fast presentation. And the question to all of you is how these technologies, not only AI, because we heard a lot talking about AI, but it's not only AI, or we should define what AI exactly means, because we try now to use it as an umbrella word covering everything. So how this technology impact according to your project and your experience in the life, daily life of on the sea, on the coast, and talking about 3-4 minutes about your experience on the project.
Thank you. So as I said, we are developing an AI pipeline that should detect boats, their sizes and speeds based on computer vision. And with this information, we can connect to other sensors and extract useful data. One of the examples is putting it on an unmanned surface vehicle. So we have this vessel that we can plant on a highly area of the sea that has high traffic, and we can detect boats what types pass and how fast they are, all that information with the AI. And if we connect it, let's say, to a hydrophone sensor, we can see the sound pollution of these boats and then cross-reference and see how they affect different life under the sea, and also with the, let's say, density of traffic, how it affects the people that live on the coasts. Another application could be developing an autonomous mode for this vessel, where it could do missions on its own, and also detect any obstacles and avoid them based on these detections, and with that do missions along the coast, like detecting where the trash is located and sending appropriate authorities to help it, or assessing different parts of the coast for, let's say, environmental data or any sort of those kind of things. And yes, the main part is detecting boats, and that can be implemented in many different ways and areas along the maritime. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I say again, the name of the project in your case is DIH InnovaMare, is it
DIH
correct?
InnovaMare,
Yeah, okay.
yes.
So they can maybe go also on the website and find information about the project.
Yes, of course. You're free to look at the project.
And please now, Igor.
Yep.
You will talk not only about the project, if I'm correct, you will take a little broader speech.
Exactly. So the 3A fishing is aimed to improve the propulsion for the small-scale fisheries and therefore improve their applicability and so on. But this is just one of the technical improvements. The fishery, for example, needs to gather better data. And from a practical point of view, there have been recently a few projects and that have been developing the application of AI and machine learning. One of the easiest ways of this application is the development, for example, of fishery logbooks that we've been using for gathering catch data, but then also to gather images about the different fishes. And this is where artificial intelligence and machine learning in particular was mainly used, because it was used to identify the different species with the aim also to determine the size of these species. This is why it's super important for the fisheries sector and for us, because it allows us to improve the management of the species and to react possibly in real time, maybe in the near future. But this is a route on which we are going. But the artificial intelligence and machine learning, they're conceptually models, and models are good, as Prof. Nadia said, as much as there is the quality of the data. And also gathering data is another super important aspect for the fisheries sector, but also for the environmental evaluations. For example, improving the network of our sensors and monitoring oceanographics buoys is important, because those data are at the basis for doing the estimation and the projections of the oceanographic and biogeochemical models, and to assess also the future impacts of the climate change. Therefore, for example, getting from practical point of view, a network of sensors, of monitors, of oceanographics buoy, the improvement of oceanographics buoy that are less susceptible to biofouling, will allow us to gather more reliable data that will feed our models. But also, and those data then go to oceanographics models that usually are quite slow. This is an activity that has been done, for example, by the CMCC or the Institute of Oceanography and Geophysics in Italy. It's the prediction of the environmental conditions of the sea. Those models are quite heavy from the computational side and require as heavy infrastructure like the computation centers, high performance centers, and take a long time. And the recent application of machine learning was that to improve the speed, because the machine learning can, for example, recognize different patterns that can be happening in the environment if there's a salinity front developing or temperature front developing with a higher resolution. And those, although we might get our data a bit less precise, but we can get much more, those data much faster, and then we can react much faster to suggest, for example, the management of the fisheries or touristic sector. And this is one of the very, very practical applications that machine learning and artificial intelligence is doing.
Thank you. So if I understand also, Professor Pinardi before was saying the relevance of having actual data really on time and collecting them very quickly and being able to use them very quickly as well to give answer to the people, to the society, let's say, if I got this information. Thank you. Now we switch to Brigantine project and Luca Di Gaspero.
I give just two words about Brigantine project, which aims at instrumenting an autonomous vehicle, an autonomous vessel to check environmental conditions and the environmental health. But I take the opportunity to switch the perspective. Since usually AI is referred as a specific subfield of it, which is machine learning, and indeed most of the talks this morning deal with that. But AI is more than that. And for some tasks, especially when they deal with safety and humans, ML is not the answer. There are other kind of AI that deal with symbolic reasoning and with decision support. This morning, indeed, in one of the plenary, there was a mention about decision support that can't be done with pure computational power of the machine learning tasks. Machine learning excels in perception, excels in simulation, but don't do that in decision making. Still, there is a gap in that. And for that kind of tasks, a precise and explainable and comprehensive way to represent the knowledge that has been extracted by the perception from machine learning tasks is essential in my view. In addition to this, also for perception tasks, explainability of these black box systems, which are neural networks and all the like, it's essential because we know that we can apply them. We know that they work tremendously good. So we have seen a lot of examples this morning, and we will see probably during the day, but we don't know why and how they achieve such results. And I think this is actually the gap now in the research on AI. Yes, I'm working on this field, to bridge the gap between the why and the how these models work so good, and how to bring this knowledge into the normative part of the decision support.
Thank you. So if I understand correctly, it's a two-way relation between technical application and science and technical application. And they both work together, and one act and the other try to explain, but this is a working process, let's say.
Yes, not only science, also people and the normative aspects. When normative aspects are out, an explanation of what has been found by the systems should be given. And this is actually what the research aims to do right now.
Thank you. So Look, Rizzi, I remember the surname.
Yes.
Luca, is it?
Yeah, Luca.
So it's stage for you.
Okay, thank you. I'm here also to represent the partnership of the Best for Zero project, and our usage of the technology is slightly different from what we see this morning. So to be able to use big data to make such complex simulation, obviously we need a really good asset of data, but our project is mainly oriented to the technology transfer to the small and medium enterprise. Within our project, we have the possibility to interview at national and international level, especially with our Croatian partner, some of the small and medium enterprises that are mainly involved into the blue economy asset. And what we find out is that most of them doesn't have, let's say, those structure and structured data to actually use and make the usage of the AI tool as an powerful, let's say, instruments. And I actually believe that still artificial intelligence is a good instrument, a good, let's say, element to help those kind of small and medium enterprise, but probably in a different way. So they can use the artificial intelligence, for example, the generative one, in order to improve their product, to improve their workflow, to identify, for example, risk or special asset. They can simulate new, let's say, concept, new idea. They can also use this kind of tool, especially to networking and to presentation marketing purpose, let's say, of their product. And this is probably the first step that can allow the economy, and specifically the really small and micro enterprises that are mainly familiar. They also doesn't have sometimes technology such as information system or technology to monitor the production process or stuff like that. And what we are doing with the BEST project is to provide services in terms of technology transfer, training, and first adoption of this kind of instruments. We will allow them also to, let's say, do some tests before invest, so to understand which is the cost of this technology and how to adopt them. And in order also to, let's say, allow those kind of enterprises to be more competitive in terms of international positioning and stuff like that.
Thank you, Luca. I think we have still some minutes. Maybe you have something to add or consideration to add to what you have there. If some of you want to add something, please.
Yeah, I'm an ecological modeler, so I work with models quite often, and mainly on fishery, but also on oceanography. And I think that we are in a quite peculiar situation right now, because in the past we used to gather quite a lot of data, and usually the problem was to process those data. But right now we have a lot of computational power, but we are now lacking in data. So usually what happens right now is that we have much more, let's say, what we call estimations, but have less reference data to check these estimations on. So what I feel from my perspective and my point of view as a modeler is that we need to improve the monitoring and the gathering of different data, because those data are not gathered in a homogeneous way. For example, satellite data, they are super abundant, but we are very lacking in specific in situ data that like, I don't know, temperature at the bottom of the sea, that are usually very expensive, or the density of the fishes and marine resources that are required movement of research vessels, fishing vessels, and so on. So what I feel is that we need to improve the projects or promote also to create the creation of a network that will gather those data together, that will share those data on a shared platform. We are here in the Adriatic. A shared platform for the Adriatic would be a very, very welcome thing, to give this data from a general public to government agencies. And I think this is one of the directions where we should go, because then we can really improve also machine learning techniques and application of artificial intelligence. only if we have more data on which we can tune those models.
Thank you. The relevance of having more open data for our activities is that, I think, the message I got from that. You want to say something?
I can add to your comment that actually the development of our unmanned service vehicles is trying to solve one of the problems where you have big fishing boats with crews of, let's say, plus 10 men that have a mission, and from that you gather the data, let's say, on the density of fishes. And one of the problems that we can solve is actually sending an unmanned boat that can do the same thing with the same sensors. It's just a specific task that is out to do, and it's sustainable. It's an electric boat, so some kind of collaboration and development of these kind of technologies can definitely help both of our projects in the future.
Thank you. Some last consideration, something that you want to say?
I also completely agree with say, these two speakers, also because we have probably to try to imagine some possibility to have some open data access, and also the possibility to collect the data in a more structured way, and specifically in Italy, but I think also in Croatia for our partner, we have to teach them the importance also to how to collect and, let's say, to retrieve those data and to use them for specific purpose, because they don't have the idea of the powerful that we have now in our hands in terms of elaboration of information and improvement of the results. But we have also to be aware to some other aspects that are related to privacy and of those data, because most of these companies usually doesn't want, for example, for private data to share something, and this is also another problem while we are proposing this kind of project.
Thank you. So I would like to thank all the guests for this first round, and move to the next one. Thank you again. Very kind. So, welcome. Grazie. Now we shift the focus to innovating life and work sea. I'm calling here the referent for the project Marinet, Beyond, Brigantine, Francesco Boscutti, and we move in from the previous one is the project Eccentric, Marco Galanti. Thank you. Please. So thanks again. I would use the same format, even if I know that Marta after has some slide. No? Okay. Forget it. So I will use the same format. Please, if you can introduce yourself and your affiliation, your project, after we will have some more speak together.
Okay, can you hear me? Yep. I'm Giuseppe Serra. I'm the director of the Artificial Intelligence Lab at the University of Udine. I'm represent here the Marinet project.
Thank you. Marta?
Hello everyone, I'm Marta Alvir. I'm research assistant at Department of Fluid Mechanics and Computational Engineering at University of Rijeka, Croatia, and I'm here to represent Beyond project.
Thank you.
Hi, Francesco Boscutti from the University of Udine. I'm a plant ecologist and I'm involved with the team of the Brigantine project.
Hello, my name is Marco Galanti from T2I, which is the lead partner in the Eccentric project. I manage the innovation services and I help companies in implementing new technologies and artificial intelligence, especially lately.
That's very interesting. Thank you. So we start from here again. Yeah, the question is, let's say, always the same. How, in your experience, big data, AI, machine learning, impact in the daily life of the activity where you are working on, and specifically in your project, what kind of experiences you can bring us to share together?
Thanks. First of all, I want to say that Marinet start with this clear idea to try to introduce AI at the beginning. So we wrote the project and we focus. In fact, I'm part of the project and I'm not expert on fish, on aquaculture, but the consortium decided to just invite me as part to try to build a really, really important partners in order to do these kind of activities. So what we are doing, we start looking at the data, we start collecting data, and we decide to work in 3 research lines. The first one was to try to use computer vision techniques to try to detect disease. So we built a system that was able to, as you take a picture of a fish, you can recognize some early disease or something like this. And this was really, really challenge because, as we mentioned before, we have not too many images, not too many data. So we had to work, and since we are experts in AI, we start thinking and we start try to add new data in a synthetic way. So instead of just using the data that we have, we try to increase the number of data in this generating with these new technologies. And then another important research line that we start exploring, and now we have something that we will present this afternoon in a workshop, is to try to build a system for forecasting. So the idea is that now we have data on the farms, the aqua farms that we are working on, and we have also Copernicus and all the, so I want to say thanks for the previous speakers that mentioned that kind of really, really important data. And we try to combine in order to make some kind of predictions and forecast and try to understand a little bit something will happen in the future and try to help farmers in order to make some kind of techniques in order to reduce risk and other stuff.
Thank you very much. So the importance of creating and having larger database, structured or unstructured, it depends, because you apply the vision to this your activity and to the specificity of the sea, of the fishery in this case. The word to Marta, please.
So the goal of Beyond project is to plant offshore wind farms in the Adriatic Sea with synergies with blue economy and positive impact on marine ecosystem. So the first important application of AI is using data which is previously mentioned, for example, from Copernicus and other free sources, which combines satellite data, measurements, and numerical models. And we use that because we investigated large areas in the sea, which is very expensive to measure data, especially in the initial stages of planning offshore wind farms. The second application of AI is for optimization of the offshore wind farm layout, to how to position wind farm and how to maximize electricity and minimize other losses. The third thing that we started to investigating is for new technologies and new type of offshore wind farm foundations, because previously those decisions were made mainly by the choosing on that. But now we are using AI and numerical models to calculate and to minimize vorticity on the whole system. And for one of our also implementation of AI is calculate and predict electrical production and choosing adequate electrical storage system based on that.
Thank you very much. Very kind. Please, Francesco.
Yeah. I'm here to tell you the story about Brigantine. It's a story of 4 players.
Is Brigantine the right pronunciation? I was worried.
No, it's not a long story.
Okay.
It's of four players. The first player is the ecosystem that we would like to monitor. It's the shallow coastal water. The second player is the technology that actually has 2 phases here, the remote sensing tools. Especially we are going to develop with this, within this project autonomous vessels that can help us to acquire data from really close distance to the ecosystem. And the third player is the AI. I will come back later to that. The fourth one is what I would like to start, is the team that is cross-boundary. So Italy-Croatia, that is important because the challenges are the same on both sides of the borders. And the other thing it's important to stress here, I'm a plant ecologist, but I'm within a team of cross-disciplinary perspective. So chemical colleagues, as well as engineering and mathematics that are helping us with the different part of the technology. The challenge is to monitor those ecosystems that are really variable in terms of time and space, because coastal shallow waters are really changing in terms of gradients, ecological gradients. And for that, using remote sensing data that can really enlarge our view in terms of space and time. So from downscaling, upscaling, from satellites to drones, it's very informative, but that creates a large amount of data. A large amount of data that can really be managed in an effective way using AI. We have some examples from our lagoon system in the Northeast, but we are applying that also within the project that helped us to trace the trends of the seagrasses meadow, an important ecosystem within the lagoon, using machine learning, as well as mapping the salt marshes of the lagoon as well, using deep learning. So using satellite images, but both satellite images and drone images to have this important perspective of upscaling. As a plant ecologist, I'm collecting data mainly, and I'm taking advantage of these technologies. But I do really believe that this is the way where the data collections in field can really have an important leverage in the upscale perspective, also in broader scales.
So if I understand, it's also a matter of using different sources and different kind of sources, which requires also different competencies, because I suppose it's different to deal with satellite or to deal with submarine or something like that. Is it correct?
Yeah. We are collecting data with this new vessel that we projected along with our colleagues from the engineering department. And we are processing those data that are raw data in all sense, because we are collecting multispectral images underwater. That is a challenge, because the infrared is disappearing immediately, so that is a challenge, of course. But we are collecting those data with cameras that are recording the same bands of the Sentinel satellites. So in that sense, we would really like to merge these different spatial scales, because then the satellites can enhance us in the interpretation over time. So basically this is, and of course for that it's important the collaboration with our colleagues that can manage this kind of data.
Thank you. Marco, please.
Well, in the Eccentric project, we focus on supporting SMEs in developing innovative projects idea in collaboration with research centers. So we work with very different technologies, not only AI, but I would like to spend a couple of words on specifically on AI, because I think that there is a research by the Boston Consulting Group that is quite interesting, and for us is very meaningful on how to interpret the project idea that we see. And especially this research that was carried out a couple of months ago said that in an artificial intelligence project, 10% of the budget is spent on technology, 20% of data, 70% on organization, governance, and so on. Obviously, this does not mean that the technology is not important, because without the technology, you do nothing. You need to implement the technology well, you need to have a technology that works well, and so on. But above the technology, you need the data. This is something that was mentioned also in the panel before. And this is one of the key difficulties that we see with companies, especially the smallest one, because having data to use, to analyze, to be useful also to train their own model of artificial intelligence is something that is not at all easy and requires an effort. But this is not yet enough. You need also an organizational step, because many of us are using artificial intelligence in day-to-day work now. And one thing is to just use ChatGPT as a search engine and so on. But if you want really to implement artificial intelligence in your work, then it's like onboard a new employee. Basically, you need to define some organizational steps. You need to define what you can entrust it and what not. Because, for example, the Artificial Intelligence Act of the European Union is very important, as it is a guideline very important that just as a reference, not looking at the legal aspect and the requirement, but if you think about the different risk level and that the AI Act plans, this is something that is something that you should think about and you should analyze, even if it wasn't something mandatory. Because thinking about what you do with the data, where do you put data, how it's analyzed, what type of decision is taken, because what happens if when the artificial intelligence makes some mistake, because this is something that happens in the end. Artificial intelligence always makes some mistake. And not only generative artificial intelligence that hallucinates, but even more traditional machine learning system can have false positive, false negative. This is something that we've seen in time lots and lots. And so basically this is something that you need to look at the project also from a governance point of view, because you don't need only the technology. And maybe now the problem is that the generative AI and the no-code tools make the technology look very easy. And in fact, it is very easy to make a prototype, make a proof of concept. But often this is not enough. Then you need to make a step further. It was the step that you have to do absolutely a few years ago. So for example, 10 years ago, when we already work in artificial intelligence, what we had to do was to have a large set of data. Then we called the Cineca to have some computing power to analyze the huge data set that we had. Now, this is something that you can't skip. You can maybe plan forward better because you can make some experiment, but in the end, if you wanted to optimize, if you wanted to be efficient, this is something that needs to be considered, because this is something that needs to be addressed. Because, for example, just a small data about the energy consumption on sensor. We see lots of projects that rely, for example, on a 5G connection because it is available and so on. But a 5G connection means that a battery consumption that lasts a few hours. And so what you can actually do, if you analyze the data, you use only what you mean. You maybe can use a lower connection that has a very different power consumption, several orders of magnitude less. And in that case, the battery lifespan is years as an order of magnitude. So this allows you to mix very different things, but you need to have a good planning. So you need not to confuse the planning, the experiment that you can do very easily now with the implementation, because this is still something different.
So if I understand, it's about having data, but also having the correct data.
Yeah.
And collect the correct data and have a governance on how I collect this kind of data.
Yeah,
is it?
Exactly. The point is to plan for what data you need. Because sometimes now we've seen in many companies, for example, about predictive maintenance projects and so on, that the solution that someone proposes is try to collect every data that you can. But this is a very resource consumption, and this is not easy to implement. If you maybe in the analysis part you can collect as much data as possible, but then when you have to have the system running, then you have to shrink down to only the data you actually need, because that way you need to be you're able to be efficient. You don't waste resources, because also analyzing data consumes a lot of power that is a waste of energy if you don't need it.
Thank you. Giuseppe, maybe you want to add something to what you heard and to interact with the other?
Just, how to say, a perspective of what we are saying right now. What I want to say is that I think, based on the discussion this morning, we need data. Okay, data is important. But what I'm understanding right now that there are data here in a farm, there are data in another farm, there are data in another farm. So maybe we can think of how the hospitals manage the data and try to make, try to use that kind of data in a way that you can build a system, but leave all the data in the respective hospitals. So these kind of techniques are called federated learning. It means that all the farms will have the data, and they don't share the data with the other one, but you can build a system that can use all these data without sharing. I think this could be a really, really interesting direction. Otherwise, we will see next year in this room, we will ask for other data, but companies or farms will not share, obviously.
Thank you. So federate learning and collecting data in a different place, but with the same standard, let's say, that would help to go further.
Keep all the data private for all the farmers and so on.
Marta, if I can, I would ask you a different question. You are a researcher, and you are working on the topic of blue ocean, let's say, broadly speaking. I think that in the room there are students as well. Do you think, because we talk a lot about technology, data, but I think we missed the people working on this data. So if you can share about your experience, do you think it's a field where some student maybe here could find perspective for the future? It's an interesting field where to apply. I hope the answer is yes, but I'll let you talk.
Answer is definitely yes. Since I'm coming from a university, I think it's really important to integrate AI with existing curriculum based on our experience from such a projects. So the future students will be prepared for next generation and next problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe a final message if you have some.
Yeah, something related to this issue, to the field data that, I mean, in our case, we used, for instance, data that I collected when I was a PhD student, along with many other students, in a big field survey in the lagoon, more than 500 sites visited in the lagoon, but that was more than 10 years ago. And then, at a certain point, my PhD take advantage of this data using random forest and using the Landsat images, so that were running at that time, 10 years ago, to project the distribution of these plants, these seagrasses, meadows, and to find out that in 20 years, the seagrasses increase rapidly within the lagoon, something that was opposite to what we expected at that time, because we were monitoring the decrease of these species. So just to encourage the collection of data, and I would like also to stress the importance, as already mentioned, to share those data. And in our project, we are working along with the University of Politecnica delle Marche, as well as with the Ruder Boskovic and the Korila from Venice and from Croatia. And we are sharing protocols to collect data, but not just to collect, but also then to analyze with these new tools.
Thank you. Marco, one last message if you have for the audience.
Well, yeah, another lesson that we learned about working with the innovation projects with companies is that the difference between research and innovation, because this is something in many funding schemes is a bit confusing for company, because one thing that we've seen is that small companies especially need to focus on innovation more than research, because they don't need to develop new knowledge in many cases, but they need to implement best practice that maybe in some exist at least in some other field. And so this is something that we've seen that in some cases puts some companies a bit in a difficulty, because if you look at the regional funding scheme and many national funding scheme, they focus on very strictly on research with the reference to the Frascati manual and so on. While many companies have the need to be a bit lower than that and to implement the very good work that already exists, that the university has already done. Many times you don't need to always invent something new, but to implement the best practice that universities already implemented and developed. So this is something another important lesson that we have learned, and we are trying to understand how to support it.
So thank you to everybody, and please. It was very interesting to hear about you. Thank you. Now we have a switch in the program. He should have done the conclusion actually, but I think he will do temporary conclusion, let's say. So I'm pleased to give the floor to Davide Baruffi, Regional Minister for Strategic Planning and Program Implementation, EU Funding Programming, Budget, Assets, Personnel, Mountain and Inland Areas. Mr. Baruffi, please. It's a long affiliation, but...
Buongiorno a tutte e a tutti, scuserete questo cambio di programma, ma i lavori interessanti si sono protratti più del previsto e noi abbiamo un'agenda regionale oggi molto fitta e impegnativa. Però dopo il saluto di apertura del vicepresidente Vincenzo Colla ci tenevo a portare anche i miei di saluti a nome del Presidente e a ringraziarvi davvero per la vostra presenza, per il lavoro che state svolgendo. Questa, peraltro, in cui vi ospitiamo è casa vostra. Questo complesso, queste strutture, le infrastrutture che sono dentro, le macchine, sono parte di un progetto finanziato, voluto anche dalla Regione Emilia-Romagna, dall'Italia, ma appartengono a tutti gli europei e quindi dovete pensarla come una grande cooperativa a proprietà indivisa di cui ciascuno di voi è azionista, quindi è pienamente casa vostra. È un onore avervi qui, anche per rimarcare il valore che ha questo programma per la nostra regione. Dicevo, stamattina il vicepresidente ha ricordato come la nostra regione ha anche l'onore di avere la vicepresidenza del Comitato Nazionale, quindi di partecipare attivamente ai processi decisionali per l'attuazione di questa programmazione, ma anche per la preparazione del futuro ciclo. Questo ruolo ci consente di contribuire da protagonisti alle scelte strategiche, nel codeterminare le priorità di intervento e i criteri di selezione dei progetti in coerenza con le esigenze anche del nostro territorio. Da qui i 38 progetti finanziati di cui stiamo parlando e toccando con mano le esperienze, 14 di questi appunto coordinati da enti del nostro sistema regionale, con un contributo complessivo investito di quasi 15 milioni di euro e costi coperti tra risorse comunitarie e nazionali al 100%. Questo naturalmente facilita la partecipazione di tanti soggetti pubblici e privati, che è il nostro primo obiettivo, riuscire ad animare una partecipazione, una risposta importante del sistema territoriale, di ampliare la platea dei beneficiari e favorire naturalmente la collaborazione tra i tanti attori del territorio. Sono 32 i soggetti beneficiari tra partner e lead partner, imprese, enti locali, poi l'avete visto, enti del terzo settore, atenei, ma anche associazioni di categoria, consorzi di bonifica, un ente parco, un GAL, un'autorità portuale, per dire qual è la ricchezza che anima questa partecipazione generativa. Io considero cruciale, anche per il ruolo che ricopro all'interno della Giunta e quindi attraverso le iniziative assolutamente positive che realizzano la nostra direzione generale, i nostri settori, Arter, l'attività che stiamo mettendo in campo di integrazione di questo programma con gli altri strumenti della programmazione europea. Questo è il punto su cui vorrei attirare la vostra attenzione. La Regione Emilia-Romagna ricopre il ruolo di autorità di gestione del programma Interreg IPA-Adrion, che è lo strumento principale per l'attuazione della macrostrategia EUSAIR, che prima richiamavo. In particolare coordiniamo a livello interregionale italiano il pilastro 3, quello della qualità ambientale, della strategia, facilitando l'integrazione tra cooperazione transfrontaliera, cooperazione transnazionale e macrostrategia. Considero, dicevo, altrettanto importante la complementarietà di questo programma con tutta la programmazione regionale che stiamo realizzando. Anzitutto perché questo programma è uno strumento di policy che contribuisce alla realizzazione degli obiettivi che abbiamo previsto nella nostra pianificazione strategica, nel documento strategico regionale che presidia e ha ordinato anche l'impiego dei fondi in questo settennato, la strategia di specializzazione intelligente, l'S3, e anche il patto per il lavoro e per il clima, che è lo strumento di rapporto con il nostro partenariato regionale che proprio in questi giorni stiamo andando a rinnovare con tutti i soggetti della rappresentanza istituzionale, economica e sociale dell'Emilia-Romagna. In questo devo dire che c'è un'attenzione crescente, credo che ne abbia dato conto anche il mio collega Colla, verso tutto ciò che è l'economia blu. Il Forum Blu dell'Emilia-Romagna conta oggi oltre 30 partner, rappresenta uno spazio di aggregazione, confronto ed elaborazione essenziale. Anche guardando al futuro, questa attenzione molto significativa non può che crescere per dove guarda il nostro sviluppo sostenibile e devo dire anche per il contributo che sta portando la nuova presidenza. Michele De Pascale, il nostro presidente, viene da Ravenna e quindi ha un portato quasi genetico, diciamo, no? su questi temi e su questi versanti. Quindi non posso non immaginare un impegno crescente che vada in questa direzione anche nel futuro della nostra programmazione. con un nostro impegno quindi ad esserci, a realizzare un'attività sempre più integrata, provando ad ampliare il raggio d'azione di iniziative di questa portata, di questo genere, per aumentare il numero delle operazioni sul territorio e il numero dei soggetti che possono essere attivati e catturati dentro queste progettualità, per l'integrazione tra i programmi di cooperazione transfrontaliera, dicevo, programmi transnazionali e fondi di preadesione per i Balcani occidentali, che richiederà meccanismi di coordinamento innovativi e rafforzati, oltre ad una visione strategica condivisa a livello macro-regionale, su cui noi ci candidiamo a rafforzare il nostro impegno e la nostra presenza a favore dell'integrazione europea dei territori adriatici e della cooperazione con i paesi dei Balcani occidentali, nella convinzione ferma che la cooperazione territoriale costituisca uno strumento essenziale per affrontare le sfide comuni e promuovere lo sviluppo sostenibile di quest'area. Lo dico senza retorica, ma credo che quando pensiamo a questo territorio, a questo programma, anche quando non ce ne rendiamo conto, stiamo evocando, ripeto, sia nel programma sia dentro la strategia macro-regionale dell'Unione Europea per la regione adriatica e ionica, un quadrante territoriale, 10 paesi cruciali. È un quadrante non solo per noi, ma per la storia mondiale, che racconta di straordinarie civiltà, di vicende di apertura, integrazione, di crescita, di sviluppo e anche di conflitti terribili e delle pagine più vergognose della storia dell'umanità. Ancora 2 giorni fa il nostro Paese ha commemorato il giorno del ricordo, alcune delle pagine terribili che si sono scritte in questo quadrante. C'è intorno all'Adriatico forse il meglio e il peggio di quanto l'umanità abbia saputo produrre, il meglio e il peggio contemporaneamente, è la nostra storia. L'Unione Europea, il fatto che noi oggi siamo qui impegnati in progetti di cooperazione per costruire insieme soluzioni, competenze, per mettere in simbiosi anche le cose che impariamo, che sperimentiamo, che progettiamo, è il fatto. E già questo fatto dovrebbe dire quanto è prezioso quello che ci unisce, per farci comprendere lo spirito con cui dobbiamo e possiamo guardare al mondo anche nei momenti più difficili, quali quelli che stiamo vivendo. Ecco, l'Unione Europea non è solo questo, è tante cose, ma è anche la cooperazione tra territori, la capacità dal basso di animare progettualità di questo genere, di farlo insieme come uomini e donne che vivono intorno all'Adriatico. Per questo credo che quanto stiamo facendo vada al di là anche dei singoli progetti che vengono realizzati, e vi voglio ringraziare a nome di tutta l'Emilia-Romagna. Buon lavoro e buona prosecuzione.
Thank you. And so now we move to the the one that now has become the last session of the morning. We try to widen the lens now because we are inside of the Italia-Croatia program, but we will try to look also at other Interreg and mainstream programs, EU programs. So I will invite here the 4 next speakers, asking them to sit on the chairs. We will have for Ipadrion Zivko Kolanski, from Interreg Europe Sharpay project Daniela Ferrara, from Horizon Europe CEDAR project Paolo Perucci, and from the Interreg Italia-Croatia Simona Lullo, CLANS project. Thank you, welcome. I think we will have the slide, but you can look at the slide also from here. Anyway, you can come here if you prefer to and you are more comfortable. Let's, Zviko, start. Thank you. Go to WIN project.
Can I have the slides first?
Yeah, I think they are coming.
Thank you. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Živko Kokolansky. I'm a full professor at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Information Technologies in North Macedonia. And today I would like to briefly talk about the GoToTwin project, which is actually dealing with implementation of the digital twin for the optimization of renewable energy sources. Okay, so this is a very short outline of my presentation. It has actually three main sections. The first one is just general information about what our project is all about, and then we will give a little bit deeper discussion about what we have done in the project, like market assessment, transnational perspectives, some go-to-twin architecture or some technical view of what we are doing, and what is the ecosystem that we are engaging within our project. Finally, maybe less important, but we will just briefly discuss about our project organization, management, and how we are implementing the project. So, the project GoToTwin was funded at the first call of Interreg Adrian program, and we are actually, I am very proud to say that we are the first so far leading project institution from the Interreg in North Macedonia. It, of course, started in September 2024, and it has a total budget of about 1.7 million euros. We have 7 partners. As you can see here on the map, we are more or less covering the entire Adriatic and Ionian region. We are more or less mostly universities and research institutions, but alongside this, we have also 9 other associated partners, which mainly come from the power engineering sector. What do we like to achieve within the GoToTwin? Of course, we would like to introduce some innovation, and the innovation comes from the digital twin implementation for the optimization of the renewable energy sources. And of course, throughout the partnership, we would also like to cover cross-sector collaboration with our partners and also to provide market analysis and stakeholder engagement, because at the end, this transnational-wise digital twin platform will be for use of the external power engineering stakeholders. The main idea is to design this digital twin platform and, of course, to provide capacity building activities for the further generations to be able to use and know these technologies. Why we think that our project is relevant? It is relevant because it tackles the key challenges in the Adriatic and Ionian region. For example, as you can see here, we have energy transition, renewable energy, sustainability, environmental protection, etc. How we are achieving this? We are achieving this through the optimization of the renewable energy systems by using the digital twins, which can be further used, for example, for predictive maintenance or some advanced tasks which normally other systems cannot do. Also, we are relevant because we try to somehow provide support to wider strategies and policies. For example, here we can see that we are in line with the EU's air strategy, in which one of the key pillars is to connect the region, I mean digital-wise to connect the region and energy-wise also. And also, this is on the right-hand side, the European Green Deal, where each of these attributes can be linked to the digital twin platform that we are actually developing. Renewable energy integrations or efficient resource utilization, grid stability, etc. Also the Repower initiative and the EU action plan for reaching the digitalization targets up to 2030. Of course, we have made a market assessment in the Adrian. This was these were some of the, I would say, initial steps throughout our project. We found out, not surprisingly, that mainly the hydro and then followed up by the solar and the wind are the renewables most abundant in the Adriatic and Ionian region. And on my left-hand side, you can see that more or less the energy mix within the Adrian is, I would say, more or less the same, with the EU countries a little bit leading the way. For example, here, Croatia, Greece, and Slovenia are a little bit in front when dealing with the share of the renewable energies in their own systems. Also, we have made some analysis about the transnational perspectives for the digital twin application, because our, let's say, platform will be able, or it's intended to be implemented region-wise. So we have analyzed some criteria about future obstacles or I would say possibilities for integration of this digital twin, and we found out that none of the countries has specialized dedicated legislation for the implementation of the digital twin. And that is one of the key priorities for our project, because at the end we would need to deliver a strategy of how in future these separate, let's say, national systems should improve their legislation in order to be able to comply with the demands from the digital twins. Now, this is just a brief technical overview about the architecture itself. We are developing a digital twin. It is a virtual replica of a physical system, and this virtual replica actually uses sensors and external data to make a digital copy which behaves exactly the same as the object itself. The main targets are the renewable energy sources, and this is solar, hydro, and wind power plants. We use IoT gateway, which actually uses some standard communication interfaces, and the main heart of our platform is the digital twin manager, which we have designed. And this digital twin manager actually supplies with data all the other modules that we are developing. As you can see, we have historical data, which we use for training the machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms for prediction of the energy generation output, or for prediction of, let's say, predictive maintenance or some advanced features that usually digital twins can deliver. And at the end, of course, not less important is the visualization, which also need to be some kind of 3D or designed with some CAM-KITE design. And this is our ecosystem so far. We have 4 living labs. These are all energy living labs. Our living lab in North Macedonia, in Skopje, was the first pilot which is already implemented. You can see here part of the infrastructure that we have gathered. It's a solar power plant, some local weather stations, also external weather sensors and stations. And this we copy to the other 3 living labs, which are situated in Greece, in Slovenia, in Serbia, and in Croatia. And these living labs will be at test sites where different stakeholders will be able to test our digital twin system and use further on for their own activities. And very briefly, just at the end, I would like to show you our project organization is a standard one. We have a steering committee where, by using this quality management manual, deals with the quality management and quality assurance within the project. We have financial manager, project manager, and communication manager on a project level. And more or less, it's the same architecture on the partner level, but besides of that, we have also coordinators for each work package. Now, at the end, instead of conclusion, I would like to invite everyone, each one of you who deals with some kind of, let's say, digital twins or renewable energy sources or related technologies to approach us, maybe in the networking session, because we have one ongoing activity, which is mapping of stakeholders interested in this activity, and it goes all the way to the end of the project. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Kokolanski. Now I ask to Daniela Ferrara to take the stage for Sharpay project Interreg Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and let me first of all thank so much the organizers for this so important and so largely participated meeting, and thank you for the opportunity that you are giving me to present you this project, this Sharpay project that is trying to look at the artificial intelligence from a different point of view. It's the point of view of those who are managing programs on a day-to-day basis. So on the side of the managing authorities that are using these technologies in order to increase the efficiency of the day-to-day work of the program of cohesion policy. The project is a very quick framework of the project. The project is funded by the Interreg Europe program, and it has been submitted and awarded under the third call for proposals under the specific objective of Smart Europe and digitalization. What is the focus about? The focus is about the increasing efficiency in management of cohesion policy programs, integrating advanced data and AI-based solutions into daily work solutions. The project started in 2025, and it has an amount of resources, a budget of 18.8 million euro. Something about the partnership, being an Interreg Europe program project, so we need to have in the partnership partners coming from different areas, north, south, east, and west of Europe. And so Emilia-Romagna is the lead partner of the project, but all the partners are managing authorities of some regional or national programs of the cohesion policy. And apart from the Hungarian partner that is, let's say, providing services to managing authorities, is not a managing authority in itself. What is the main question, what is main topics that we would like to investigate and to work on within this project? It all started with a question: how can data and artificial intelligence help the managing authority to innovate the management of cohesion policy programs and improving their effectiveness and efficiency? And it was starting from that question, it was articulated over three main objectives. The first one is to increase efficiency, and so through the automatization of low-value tasks and reducing the administrative burden. We are talking about some repetitive functions that are mostly, in most cases, they are frustrating also for people working on this. For example, the check of the expenditures. So we would really like through this project also to reduce the administrative burdens, but also to make people work on something with a more added value. But also the second focus is on accountability, so how data can support us in increasing the accountability of the program, so how they can be used for monitoring and also for ensuring real-time transparency for citizens and for beneficiaries. And the third focus of the project is about the forecasting, so how to improve forecasting and how to use artificial intelligence and data to predictive analysis and also to anticipate territorial trends and beneficiary needs. So these are the three main focus on which the project is focused on. I don't want to enter into specific detail, but we considered each of the three focus as a kind of path, so something to be worked together with the other partners, and we also considered as an horizontal path the one of cybersecurity, reliability of data. Among the outputs, you see that we were considering to have also some artificial intelligence chatbots, automated control, KPIs, so key performance indicators based on time savings, interactive dashboards, open data portals, predictive models, and scenario visualizations that are so important in the cohesion policy. We have some implementation instruments. The first one is that we are running right now is a survey aimed at an assessment, at providing an assessment of the current state of the artificial intelligence integration, identification of good practice and need assessment. Then we have, of course, something that is very typical of the Interreg project, that is the identification and analysis of good practices, as well as the staff exchange visits and study visits, local stakeholders event, communication event, and policy learning participation to the activities of the project. I go quick. These are some examples of the good practice that we have already identified right now. We have, for example, I would like to stress these practices are at a different level of implementation. For example, there are some of them that are already mature, like the one of Portugal, where they have implemented chatbots to be used for providing information to beneficiaries, but also to the staff of the managing authorities for the implementation of the program. The province of Antwerp in Belgium also developed a cloud-based modular tool for continuous auditing and control of EADF-funded projects. We have something from Barcelona, from the Generalitat de Catalunya, where they are running a pilot project using artificial intelligence for the automatization of from taking data from the expenditure documents. We have Estonia as well, that has an important practice mainly focused on increasing transparency and accountability. And we have our own practice from Emilia-Romagna region. There is a pilot project to use an AI and large language model to classify projects by fields of intervention, that those fields required by the regulation on cohesion policy, and in order to, again, to make more efficient the work of the staff, of people working on managing authority. Something about just the two final points about the survey. The survey that I introduced you before is meant to provide a learning-oriented diagnostic instrument to map where partners are today in terms of AI adoption. And you see, we are in the process of finalizing this survey, but I would really like to share some of the most important findings of these surveys. First of all, this is very evident that manual workload is still present across all the regions and is still making the relevant part of the job. But then also all the partners agreed on the fact that skills and capacity constraints are really a very focal point. We have a lot of gaps. Specific gaps include the internal technical skills, the predictive analytical expertise, which is very, at the moment, is not so spread within the structure of the managing authorities. We have a question, a point of AI literacy, of data science capacity and ability to bridge AI technical knowledge with program management needs. But we also have noticed through this survey that forecasting capability is at a very early stage at the moment across most of the regions. We also noticed data fragmentation. something related to the platform interoperability issues, inconsistent data definition sometimes that makes data not so qualitatively acceptable, dispersed system and legal restriction also in accessing data. And finally, as a result of this first survey, we consider that efficiency tools are most developed, accountability infrastructures is slowly progressing, and forecasting capability remain largely at an early stage. To conclude, what are the emerging needs coming from the analysis, but coming also from the work that we are doing from the other partners? First of all, the need to create a community of practice more than that starting from the project. A community of practice could be created, not simply exchanging information, exchanging best practices, but also building a network where hands-on experiences, where pilots, methodologies and lessons can be learned and exchanged openly. The second is to develop a clear understanding of cost, benefits, and return on investments of the use of AI and of the different technologies of AI that are available, and also how to strengthen the internal capacity in doing this. And finally, the third main needs that we shared within the project is to reinforce the value of connecting with academia, with research centers and national agencies. So any other information on the project, for all other information in the project, you can connect to our website and to our LinkedIn account where all the information are contained. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniela. Now is the turn of Paolo Perucci from Horizon Europe CEDAR project. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thanks to the Managing Authority for the invitation and to Regione Emilia-Romagna for organizing this beautiful event. I put on the slide many information, but we have just a few minutes because we are one of the latest speech before the lunch. Feel free, in any case, to get in touch with me and ask me any further information you may need on the project. CEDAR project is a Horizon Europe project, which is in its third year of implementation, and its budget is 9 million euros. The topic of the project is to identify in public tenders anomalies. And the Friuli Venezia Giulia region, my name is Paolo Perucci, I'm the director of ICT department in Friuli Venezia Giulia region. And for Friuli Venezia Giulia region, we have a big platform when all public tenders of local authorities are collected. Another pilot case is the Hospital of Celie and the Agency for the Reconstruction of Ukraine. It is quite a huge consortium, 31 partners all across the Europe, from Spain, Netherlands, and Greece. Other countries. There are research and universities. We know that Horizon Europe is a research program for AI. I forget, obviously, the anomaly detection would be based on AI because we are talking about AI. So the research and university for AI, machine learning and data science, And there are also involved tech and industrial companies to provide a platform for integration of the algorithm and the analytics we could get on the data. Obviously, public administration has that procure data and for pilot validation, so at the very beginning, during the implementation, at the very end to train the models. And also for transparency and governance, NGO and security bodies, and specialized SMEs for data protection, modeling and anomaly detection. Which are the key objectives? We are talking about data. For all the morning, we are talking about quality of data. And the idea is to create and harmonize high-value data sets. I'm confident that the public administration has a very good quality of data because they are signed by a manager, and there is a matter of responsibility of this data, but also to build on this data operation and machine learning, to develop advanced analytics, so identify parameters for using of AI, at the very end, of course, to validate the results and ensure a valuable impact on public tenders management. The results we are achieving since now are about the high-value data sets from complex public sources. We are talking about 3 pilot actions, but these pilot actions has a different focus. The Friuli Venezia Giulia one is about civil works. The Celie Hospital is about health procurement, machinery, but also some small equipment. There is a key, so this data will be connected to European data space. There is a huge focus also on GDPR, preserving data processing since the beginning. And obviously the idea is not to leave everything in the hand of the computer, but the computer has to support us, giving a yellow flag, a red flag, an orange flag to look at, and going deeper. Nobody has to be excluded automatically. This is a well-known issue, and to trust the human-centric AI validation in national pilots. Why Friuli Venezia Giulia region? And we have an interoperable ecosystem with the regional law. As Friuli, as Emilia-Romagna, we are quite friends. We are working together on national tables. Our region connects all local administrations and all local public administration. There is a public fiber network. This is an easy way to share data, because we can have HPC, but if you don't have the way to connect, to share, to provide the data, it's quite a problem. And there is also a shared e-procurement platform, thanks to our in-house company InCL. So all local public administration use the same e-procurement platform. And this is a huge advantage for this project, because there is a regional platform, there is a regional data platform that can provide the data. And obviously, as I was mentioned before, at the very beginning, you have to use the human. It is always a human-centric AI. It's quite interesting because we are focusing not only on numbers. So when the tenders is published, when the bid is coming, which is the price, but also to different sources like geographical sources. For instance, if you are talking about credibility of a bidder, it would be nice to know, to analyze if, for instance, it is based on a flat. It happens. It is a big company based on the flat. It is not only for tax exemption issues. And with this information, we used also the idea of using multimedia data processing for the example that was mentioned before, but also analyzing audio-related models, and also it was using social media. So the idea is to use a 360-100% approach all over the data that are available on private and public databases. So public and private data collection and synthetic data generation, this is already done. We worked on data protection and pseudonymization. And also the work we did was to data modeling and harmonization and try to align the data as possible. Just a quick focus on the legal approach, that data protection must be considered at the earliest stage of system design. So we all are managing data. Sometimes they are personal data, so it is important to keep compliance to GDPR. Since the beginning, this is the remark I wanted to share with you. Very quickly, the pilot activities I was mentioned before are related on the selection of the case, on the definition of the anomaly indicators. So what is the price? What is how? It sounds strange. There is a bid 4 hours after the publication of the tender. Why? Okay, so it may be a yellow flag, but maybe it is the second issue. second edition of the same tender, so this is nothing strange, and this is why at the very end it is important to validate the models. And we did the data collection, and we mapped the CDR technology for the anomaly indication. So first of all, identify the indicators, identify the data that could highlight this indicator, and which are the technologies to identify anomaly in these indicators. The second phase, we try to collect these technologies, to integrate them, and testing the technologies. This is the phase we are going to finish, and the last one, it is the first validation of by user training, and to analyze also the impact assessment. This has to be done in this year. This is the last year of the project. I don't go in details with some example of indicators, but I was mentioned before that the bid has been published, has been sent only 4 hours after tender publication. It could be a flag, or which is the price. The latest bid it has the lowest price. Why? It sounds strange. There might be some connection between the platform and the bidder. And so this is why we are working, and this is the need to validate this data. Thank you very much. This was just to conclude, to say that we are talking about sensors. We are talking about sensors. The sensors means data. And it was also interesting looking at digital twins. We are working on another Horizon Europe program, which is started next year, in the matter of resilience of territory, and it is about prediction and reaction to disasters on landslides, using technologies like fiber sensing as a collecting sensor. And we are going to start another project with the Emilia-Romagna region in these topics. I think this is the case of success. This project, for instance, will be on Digital Europe program, and this is the key to capitalize and connect and share results among different programs from different perspectives, with a common goal, which is obviously to live in a better and a safer place. And I think that innovation and cooperation is the best insurance policy we could subscribe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paolo. And we started with we are inside of the Interreg Italia-Croatia. We started this morning with Italia-Croatia, and we close now, thanks to Simona Lullo, about the CLANS project in an Interreg Italia-Croatia. Thank you, Simona.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Also from my side, it's a pleasure to share with you the experience of Italy-Croatia program in introducing artificial intelligence in the program management. Artificial intelligence is no longer something abstract or futuristic as we understood today. It's already transforming how we analyze data, make decisions, and deliver services to citizens. Our journey with AI did not begin with technology, but it began with a need. During the revision of our management and control system, we identify a clear priority: simplification and greater efficiency. At the same time, as part of Veneto region, we were working in alignment with European and national guidelines for introducing AI in public administration. In our analysis of the use of AI in program management, we decided to focus on project assessment, and the question that we asked ourselves was very simple. How can we make project selection more efficient without compromising quality, transparency, and accountability? As you know, project assessment is a complex and time-consuming process. It involves eligibility check, quality evaluation, cross-system data verification, and coordination among multiple actors. So what we needed was an advanced tool to reduce the length of the process while maintaining high standards. This is how KeyLens was born, a dedicated AI-supported tool designed for our program. We began with a proof of concept in July 2025, testing the tool of 56 small-scale project proposals, and the result was very positive. The system demonstrated that it has a strong potential to supporting evaluators while maintaining consistency and reliability. Based on these positive outcomes, we decided to move forward, and the next step was to integrate KeyLens through interoperability with JAMES, our monitoring system, and test KeyLens to 173 standard project proposals. The project then evolved further, extending the testing phase to include support for quality assessment and not only eligibility check. I would like to clarify that what I presented today is the test of the use of AI in the program management, which was carried out in parallel with the assessment conducted by our assessor in line with the program procedures. So the benefits in use AI are significant: reduces time for project selection, more consistent data across system, and the possibility to analyze project in greater depth and extract richer insight for decision making. However, we also learned an important lesson. Technology alone is not enough. It's important to work with the staff involved, build trust, and ensure that AI is understood as a support tool and not as a threat. Moreover, AI systems require continuous improvement. Initial outcomes can be time-consuming and not fully reliable. This means that testing, validation, and gradual implementation are very crucial. What we learned about AI is that AI is not about replacing people, but it's about empowering people, give them better tools for do their work, focus on high-value activities, and create more impact for society. Now we are continuing to develop KeyLens in order to adapt it to our needs, especially for our final call. I would like to conclude by thanking the organization of this event for the good discussion of AI in Blue Economy this morning and good work for this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to all the speakers, and please take seat. So in the while, I will just give you, please. I just some practical information to close the morning. One is we have found a mobile phone during the break in case Paolo has it, if someone has lost it. And other information is we will be back in the afternoon, 2:30, and you will find your group if you are in the session in the afternoon. In the other room, it's called the 100 room. And that's all. So from my side, I just want to thank you. A lot of people, it was a long morning, but more or less at the end we kept the scheduling. Yeah, I think it was pretty interesting. I bring with me three keywords, if I can say: data, people, managing data, and networking around the Mediterranean program to develop projects about this topic. Thank you very much, and see you in the afternoon.